Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to Talking Soups. I'm Ed from Ways of the Sith.
I'm Ande.
What's going on? And we're back for another episode. I don't know what episode. Episode 7. I'm not good at keeping
Yes,
track of the episodes.
yes, this is episode 7. It's crazy already.
Right. And I really want to thank everybody. We saw a big surge in downloads and people checking out the show last week, which was really cool to see. So continue to do that. Continue to like. Continue to subscribe. And please leave us a rating on iTunes or Spotify. I saw that there's not one on Spotify. There's a couple that are on iTunes. But please, that'll help us out a lot. That'll get us seen by more people or more people to check it out. If this is your first time checking out the show, we're a show all about superheroes, movies, entertainment, TV, and pretty much everything in between. We cover all kinds of topics and pretty much all kinds of fandom. We just like to geek out and nerd out, and that's pretty much what this show is all about. So I'll give you a rundown of the different topics, and so that's what we got planned for today. So the first topic we're going to get into, because it just ended, and I literally just got done watching it. Ande said he had to sneak it in at work today. But it's been the show we've been talking about every week. Night of the Seven Kingdoms. The season finale finally aired. And so what were your immediate thoughts now, like finally getting the whole show in its entirety?
In entirety, I just want to say them starting this episode off with jazz was such a cinematic and just genius move. I feel like more shows should be starting off the show especially the sci-fi night fantasy type shows should be more creative and just different in that sense with more of the shows. I just loved that whole tidbit about that in the beginning, but about the whole show in general, getting this final hurrah and him getting ready to go off to the east with Egg and stuff. But I'm just super happy. I had already I think we talked about it last week on the pod about where this goes next, and then I went to go get a haircut, and my barber was telling me about it too, and I'm just excited for what's to happen with Egg and him seeing his brother next, and the supposedly war that might be coming up and stuff like that. So I'm just happy. It ended just the way it needed to be. I'm ready for the season 2. That's it. And House of Dragons now too, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, we'll get into House of Dragons. But the seeds were laid too, like Lionel Baratheon, that whole conversation he has with Dunk at the end and with the Meister, and he's like, "Oh, piss off! You can't fix a itchy asshole," or whatever he says to him. I started dying with that, and I loved it. He made the offer to
Thanks.
Dunk, come with me back to Storm's End. And, basically, I'll treat you like a brother. I'll have my Master of Arms teach you how to fight better because you could use it. And he made that joke with him. And then basically was like, come on, man, come with me. I'll take care of you. You'll be good for the rest of your life and just pal around with me. And Dunk very easily could have done that, but he opts not to. He opts to take the lesser route and still be a hedge knight. And I love they put a little reference in there. I don't know if you caught it, where he's talking about, have you ever been to Dorne? Baratheon says have you ever been to Tarth? I'm sorry. He says, have you ever been to Tarth? And Dunk just kind of looks at him and smiles. So they set up the lineage of Brienne of Tarth later on down the line. So that's something that comes into play. I just thought it was a nice little nod that they.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Nice little comment. And then also the fact that they confirm in the show. So in the book, it's ambiguous. You're never really sure if Dunk lied or not, or just made up the whole thing that he was actually knighted. You kind of get that impression through most of the show, obviously, because you're visualizing it and seeing it. But they actually confirmed it in the episode last night that Dunk, Sir Arlen died before he knighted Dunk, and that was Dunk's final question to him right before he passed. And so, you do see that, that's why he didn't want to knight the apple guy. That's why he didn't feel right doing some certain things, because he is kind of continuing the farce now. But at this point, everybody in the 7 kingdoms, well, 9 kingdoms, as we heard at the end of the episode, knows that he is a knight now. So, it's solidified. I guess it doesn't really matter. But at that point, you know what I mean? What does it matter?
You know what else? So they went through the flashbacks of with Sir Arnold and stuff like that, and just seeing how Dunk really love this man and taking him in and stuff like that, and how he speaks about him to other people, and just other people like just look at him like, why the fuck would we give a fuck about this guy? Like, like he's not as crazy as he is, but it's just, what I'm trying to say is like his embrace and his love for him is just something to speak about like by itself, because that it took him that it gave him the strength to go this far, and now he stays as a knight and all that stuff that he went through. It was just really beautiful to see. Like, I was thinking about that today.
He looks at him as such a role model because this guy defended this kid, as we saw in the last episode, like when he didn't have to. He put his life on the line for Dunk and saved Dunk's life, basically. And Dunk, like, looked at his coat of arms and the way he handled things and the way he did things is admirable. Like, this is how things should be. And so, like, I agree with you. Like, seeing that part of the relationship has been really special because that's something that you don't get to see in the book. You don't get to see, like, the ghost of Sir Arlen. Like, that's not a thing in the book. But, doing the show and being able to do these little flashbacks and have these little moments, it really shines a light on the character. And again, the performance from Egg, the performance from Dunk, like the performance even from Magar, his father in this episode, like Egg walks in and he's about to kill Arian. Like he's got the knife in his hand and he's literally about to kill his brother because he knows that his brother like caused all this pain, killed Baylor, like did all these things just because he wanted to be a little asshole. And so like he goes in there and then his father's standing in the room and just kind of his father like gives him the moment to let him decide, like, what are you going to do now? Are you going to go after him or are you just going to let it go? And Egg, drops the knife once Magar puts his hand on his shoulder and just like, so Magar even saw like in that moment, like, he's about to, like, he's that mad where he wants to kill him.
I think too is also like when this, I forget what his name is, but Sir Baylor's son, when he tells him that have you ever most people die with their father's armor, but how many people have died with their son's armor? And that was another speaking point to me that just made me go like, that's facts. Like I could only imagine, like that's crazy, and it's true.
And the fact that he like now he's got to live with that guilt of like, now that's my armor that my father died in that I always have to wear and continue to wear for the rest. Like that's a burden on him in itself of like, how do I even do that and how do I even pay honor? And then he tells Dunk like, the gods took the greatest man, like the guy who was about to be the greatest king there ever was in Westeros, and the gods took him. And why are you still here? But then you see the duality of that where you see Lionel Baratheon where he's like, fuck him. He's like, he was a pretender. And the reason he said that was because of the dark hair.
Oh, that ending too.
And the fact that they basically set up the whole fact of like the rebellion's on the way. It's coming. And he makes reference to that. Like there's a war brewing. You got to be on the right side. And like now they're going to Dorne. They're going to a kingdom that we haven't really explored much in the show. It was only in Game of Thrones for a little bit. You saw the Sand Snakes, you saw Pedro Pascal's character, the Viper, coming from there, but it wasn't a land and an area that we really got to explore much in the original Game of Thrones show. So
and that's like a more the slums really of Westeros kind of, right, or no?
No, it's more like the Middle East of Westeros. It's a lot more lavish. It's a lot more laid back. The people are very different. It's a very rocky, mountainous, deserty terrain. It's not so much like cold mountains, castles. There are a couple castles. But Dorne is at the southernmost part of the map. When we're in Game of Thrones time, Dorne has succeeded from the kingdom, so Dorne's not like a part of the 9. That's why Egg says there's 9 kingdoms, not 7. Because by the time we get to Robert Baratheon, there is only 7 kingdoms, not 9. So some things change over the course of that. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see Dorne, to see these things take place. You get to... we're going to see... Egg's brother Aegon in the next season, so that's
right. I can't wait for that.
Who they end up casting as him, and then eventually we're gonna get to see Bloodraven, which I'm very excited about. To me, he was a character in the original Game of Thrones.
Talk about it.
That they didn't really do a lot of justice. Like they cast an original actor for the first version of him, but unfortunately that actor passed away only after shooting season 1. So or maybe it was season.
Did they announce who that was?
So I don't remember his name, but there was a Blood Raven in the original Game of Thrones. Like he's the guy that Bran goes to in the
yeah, I know, but I'm saying
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
the one for Dunk and Egg though.
Show. No, they haven't cast one yet. That's what I'm saying. I'm interested to see who they're going to end up casting because when they did Game of Thrones, the guy who initially was cast was a good Blood Raven. He looked the part. Blood Raven's supposed to be like an albino Targaryen, white hair, white skin, and the only thing on him that has any color is this raven-colored blood red birthmark that he has on his face and that runs down his neck. So I'm interested to see if they're going to actually like look for somebody who is like an albino to cast as the role. Like that would be interesting. It's going to be cool to see like where this show goes and you know, I'm very excited to see them adapt these next two novels. The next two novels are a lot more fun, in my opinion. There's a lot more stuff that goes on. We also get to meet like a little Walder Frey that's a baby. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's
like,
kind of cool.
Things that tie in and go on from there. But with the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the episode prior, a couple things that came through analytically for the show. The series is averaging 13 million viewers an episode, which is insane for current television. Episode 5 had 9.2 million
round of applause
in 3 days. So 9.2 million people tuned into the last episode in 3 days. And then it exceeded up to 13 million. So that's incredible. Also in Game of Thrones news, there's going to be a Game of Thrones stage play that's going to be taking on at the Royal Shakespeare Theater, and it's basically going to be centered around Robert's rebellion and the tournament that happens where Robert basically declares his intent to go after the Targaryens. So it's
where is that?
It's going to be taking place in London at the Royal Shakespeare.
Oh, that's in London.
Yeah, so it should be cool. I'm interested to see if they're going to videotape it and like put it out on HBO at some point because that's what they're doing with the stage. Well, that's what they're doing with the stage play for Stranger Things on Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix.
Really?
So you can watch it. Yeah.
I saw it. It was great to see it live. That might be a whole different experience.
I'm assuming they're going to do that with this at some point, especially if it's drawing in a lot of crowds and it is pretty good. And then, yeah, I guess we can get into it, too. We have the House of Dragons Season 3 trailer that dropped. So what were your thoughts on that?
Dragons, they're fucking back.
It's nice to see them, too, right? And they look great from this season. Like, it looks like they really stepped up the CGI on it and maybe the budget on them, for all we know.
Yo, you know what's the thing though? Like, because what the cinematicness that we get from Dunk and Egg, and compared to what we get from Game of Thrones and House of Dragons, I just feel like for that being more of a low budget show, that cinema is just fucking peak, and I would really wish and hope that they go with that look for the rest of these other Game of Thrones shows because I just love watching that show. I can watch that show on mute and be satisfied.
I think part of it too is the fact that they're shooting Dunk and Egg for the most part in one location. They're not moving around and doing a bunch of things, so it's easier to build a full set out and shoot everything in one area rather than going to these different locations, having to use green screen, having to use different tricks and things too.
Yeah, but it's I would love to know the cameras that they're using for this show. We got to look into that because that's the key thing to me.
I'm assuming they're probably shooting House of the Dragons like with the same viewpoint. I mean, for the most part it is, but again, like I said, there's a lot more CGI and a lot more green screen that's being used in those shows rather than with Dunk and Egg. Right. You're just using the backgrounds, you're using like the natural elements that are in the shots, and that's that. You know what I mean? I'm really excited for this season, but part of it for me with House of the Dragons is they've really drawn this out. It's going to end up being 4 seasons when it's all said and done. Like, we're going to get this season 3, and season 4 is going to be the wrap up and kind of play things out.
And they're going to end it so whack.
No, the ending is pretty phenomenal. How this all transpires and how this all takes place, I don't think anyone's really going to see coming unless you've read the books. It really does kind of end things in like a really dramatic fashion, but what happens and like the culmination of it kind of ruins the Targaryen family going forward. It's because of all the dragons that die during this war and that take place. So this is basically like the downfall of them. it's going to be interesting to see. I kind of feel like they're going to lean more towards the Daemon storyline this season, and that's kind of where season 3 is going to take us. And then season 4 will be more of the Rhaenyra story and kind of finishing that out as with her as queen.
The whole wrap up, yeah.
It's going to be cool to see how they do some of the events that unfold. There are some big dramatic twists that take place, some things that, like, a lot of people, like I said, if you haven't read the books, you're not going to really see happening until they're about to happen.
Which I have not.
When they do, they're very gruesome and catch you off guard, because even reading the book, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's going to be fun along the ride. I just have a feeling this next season is really going to be focused on Daemon and the brother. I'm blanking on his name. The brother that's missing the eye.
The one that I'll just call him the piece of shit because I can't fucking stand him.
Yeah, I know his name. I'm just blanking on it right now. I think he's Aegon too, actually, or maybe his brother's Aegon. And now I'm just messing up the names. But anyway, the one with the eye and Daemon really kind of go to blows, and they pulled back on that last season. They kind of set it up and put it in motion, but they kind of pulled back on it a little bit because I feel like they wanted to draw that as being the big event for this year. So we're gonna see a little bit more.
He reminds me of like those white dudes who like drive those big trucks, or not even white dudes, just those dudes who drive big trucks, and then they come out the truck and they're like so small because he just got like he's such a piece of shit, but he just thinks he's the shit because he has like the biggest nastiest dragon. I can't stand him.
And it's gonna be fun to see like how this all, like, I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
I know. I just move along because it's getting fun. Like you're like on the verge.
It's a lot of fun, and it's one of the most anime endings of a rivalry, I think, that we're gonna see in Game of Thrones. Like, it is probably one.
Did you just say an anime ending?
Yeah, like for Daemon has probably like the most anime ending that you can possibly have in a Game of Thrones like story. I think the way he goes out.
Okay. This is what I like to hear. This is
a lot what I like to hear. But wrapping up on Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I'm willing to say it was one of the best series I've watched front start to finish that have taken place in the last couple years. I really can't recommend it enough to anybody who hasn't watched it. Now that the whole show is out, you should be able to binge the whole thing in like 2 hours. So I would definitely like sit down and just watch it. Especially if you're snowed in like I am currently. In the Northeast, we got about 3 feet of snow. So if you got the time, definitely put it on and definitely check it out because it's definitely worth watching. The other thing we just missed after we recorded last week, we were going to try to hop on and do something different, but we didn't get a chance to. It's been a busy week, but we finally got the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. We've been talking about it for the past couple weeks, how the Super Bowl stuff really didn't do it for us. How we kind of weren't sure about what the marketing plan was behind this movie or like what the intent was. And now we got the actual trailer. So go ahead with your initial thoughts about this trailer and how it feels to you. What's your excitement?
Yeah, we got the trailer and I got like a sprinkle of more information. Okay. But for the most part, this still does not mean anything to me, and I freaking hate that it is that way. But I just feel like
it didn't draw you in. It didn't make you feel like you want to see this movie. Okay.
No, and I mean I want to see the movie regardless because it's just a Star Wars movie, and I need. It's in my nature.
From the initial trailer, it's not grabbing you to make you be like, oh my God.
No, it's not. It's not making me hype. I'm not like, oh my God. Like, I will say this though, one thing that did pique my interest was seeing that new like bounty hunter android, because then I did some lure on him and he sounds pretty cool. But other than that, like, I'm like, I don't really care about the whole Jabba the Hutt son scenario. That's not something that gets to me. I'm lying. I'm starting to think about the trailer now. There was another part too where it looked like a giant snake, right? But it gave off more of like a like it's a Mandalore like species type of thing. So that's what I thought it was at first.
It looks almost like it might be a crate dragon. We saw that in season 2 of Mandalorian, that they were like fighting in the thing. I don't know what the species is. Like it does look like something maybe new created, that like the twins are having Din kind of fight, because it looks like Din's gonna get captured by Embo, and because that's the bounty hunter that's in the trailer. Embo's from the Clone Wars. He's the guy that's part of Boba Fett's little group, and he's got the little samurai hat where he throws it off like Liu Kang's brother and can use it for a shield and all kinds of things. Him and his dog, Marek were both shown in the trailer. You also saw the twins from Book of Boba Fett that are the 2 Hutt twins, and then we saw that Jeremy Allen White is going to be playing Rada the Hutt. And my initial thoughts from seeing the trailer, I was excited to see the trailer. I really was. I was like, all right, finally, we're going to get this. We're going to finally see what this movie's all about. When I saw what the movie was all about, I kind of was left of like, okay, this just feels like another episode of Mandalorian to me, just on the big screen. Nothing stood out to me that made me feel like it's a masterpiece. It's must-see Star Wars that I have to go out to the theater to see. It really did just look and feel like a complete Disney Plus show. A lot of it feels like it's shot on the volume. A lot of it feels like it's CGI. And that's fine for what it is, but I'm worried because there's no lightsabers in this show or movie. There's no Jedi in this movie outside of Grogu, unless, maybe an Ezra or somebody pops in towards the end of the movie. But again, like if you're including the Hutts as the big bad villains, where you would have had to see Book of Boba Fett in order to know who the twins are, and that whole backstory, you would have had to see Book of Boba Fett in general to know that Boba's sitting on the throne on Tatooine. You kind of got to watch Clone Wars to even know who Embo is. I don't know who this movie's for, like, other than kids and people who have watched all of these things before. Like, if you're a Star Wars
like
fan,
a movie
you're gonna
that's
go see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it, but it's almost as if like it's like one of those movies, which it shouldn't be one of those movies, by the way. Like one of those movies that are like in the late summer where you just like you got nothing to do on a summer day and you're like, fuck it, let's just go to the movies, and you get the matinee price, you go get your little popcorn soda and you just watch it at like fucking 12 o'clock in the morning and just call it a day afterwards. And it shouldn't feel like that to me, because this is a primetime Star Wars movie, and the fact that like that's just the vibe I'm getting from everybody about the trailer and just in general, just this overall promo that they're doing. I just don't understand why it's Disney in general though. That's a bigger topic, but they're just like so lackluster on getting the hype levels up on these trailers and stuff like that. I just don't understand what's going on behind the scenes.
I think they expect people just to show up because Star Wars is attached to it, and I don't think that's a good enough marketing plan for this particular movie, unfortunately. If you came out swinging and you had like some lightsaber fights in the trailer and like some other stuff that let people know, oh, this is peak Star Wars, like this is what people want to go see in Star Wars, then I think you would have drew people in and people would be excited and talking about it. When I talk about Star Wars with like my normal friends, like my muckle friends, I guess you want to call them, that have no idea like what any of this stuff even is. Oh, there's another Star Wars movie coming out. Like I wouldn't even begin to tell you like where that, like they have no idea who the Mandalorian is. Most of them don't know who Grogu is. If I say Baby Yoda, a lot of them are like, oh yeah, I've seen him. Like I know him. But they couldn't tell you like his backstory. They couldn't tell you anything from the TV show. And that's what I'm saying. If you want to go out there and get people to go see this movie and make this a successful movie, I think you need to reach that general audience. And I don't feel like they did. I don't feel like they even attempted to. You could have very easily made this a Luke Skywalker and Mandalorian team-up movie, you know what I mean, and had CGI Luke running around this whole movie and really drew people in if you really wanted to. So, like, that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like this is anything different than, like, another iteration of, like, another episode per week that we've seen. It's just going to be a 2-hour movie instead of another episode. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right, like by now we should already be on when we go on TV, we should be seeing the Mandalorian and Grogu Dorito commercial and the fucking Pop Tart collaboration and you know this and that and like right,
All at the
it's just
same
like
thing.
lackluster. It's just like silent. We just got our first trailer, and even in that, like they haven't even been like running that up more either. It's just so weird to me. I don't know what's
No,
going on.
and unfortunately, so I was keeping, I like to look at the analytics of stuff, so I was keeping an eye on the analytics, and despite it trending for part of the day, it only trended like for about 2 hours after the trailer dropped, and it didn't break the top 10 on Twitter as far as like trending topics.
It's
Apparently,
crazy.
something we're going to talk about later did like stay at the top of the top trends that day and like out trended this, and I'm wondering if that was on purpose, but again we'll talk about that a little later. Something I did
It's
notice
crazy.
out of this trailer though that was pointed out by the actor who plays Carson Teva, there is a nice little tribute to Carl Weathers. When you see the monster that's like breaking out of the archway and there's the writing over the top of the archway. The archway actually says Weathers Apollo in the Star Wars text. So I thought that was a nice little thing that was pointed out. And Martin Scorsese is going to be voicing a character that was also kind of shown in the trailer. He's playing the same type of species that Jon Favreau played in the Solo movie, the guy with the 6 arms. Um,
Uh-huh.
he's in the trailer like where Mando's coming up to him and asking him for information. He's like, "Oh, for any price, I'll give you information." And he's like, "I'm looking for huts," and he's like, "Oh,
Uh,
that's it," and he shuts the doors.
yeah,
That's Martin
yeah.
Scorsese voicing that character, so I thought that was a cool
Oh,
little
okay.
thing that they did include. But to me, like I said, overall initial thoughts, it looks just like another episode of the Mandalorian TV show. I don't still see why this is a must-see event or why people need to go out and see this. I'm hoping that's different. I was hoping it was going to be different. I was hoping we were going to get some sort of bigger villain in this. I thought maybe they'd throw Thrawn in
Somebody
here. Maybe they'd
that's
throw
that's
Moff
the
Gideon back in here. Because I still don't think
right.
he's dead. I still think like the last version we saw that die was a clone. So I don't know. Maybe we will see him at some point. It looks like Din gets taken and kidnapped at some point by the twins. And then he gets his helmet taken. So that was one thing for me is like they spent all of season 3 of Mandalorian giving us this whole story about him going to, redeem himself and put his helmet back on. And so like by the end of the season, he put his helmet back on. He wasn't going to take it back off. And then immediately for the movie, they had to remove his helmet because they had to show us that Pedro showed up to set. And it's not the stunt actors that normally just play Mandalorian. So I thought that was a funny
Yeah.
little bit. It's just for me, I'll go see the movie obviously, but I'm not like in like an oh my god I cannot wait to see this movie, and that's unfortunate because that's how I wanted to feel for Mandalorian. Like when I first heard the news of this movie being announced and made, I was like, yes, we're getting a Mando movie. There's
Especially
gonna be
off
so
of the
many cool
high
things.
off of last season.
Yeah.
That was insane that last season. And then you go and you tell me there's gonna be a movie to end this all up. Oh, I'm in. But like you guys have been like not doing shit.
And the fact that
And
like
that's my
we're not
problem though right now that I feel like Filoni is so head over heels and deep into the Star Wars shit that he doesn't think that the average consumer the average consumer is gonna know what he's on.
well, this
Because
isn't a
that's just
Filoni
like
thing.
how it is for anybody coming in and they see these Star Wars things now, and if they never watch Clone Wars, they're almost like they're missing a
Out.
whole lot of
Yeah, you're
information.
out. Yeah. Filoni does have a little bit of influence on this, but this is basically a Jon Favreau movie. Like he this is his directed movie.
Huh?
He's been the creator of Mandalorian. They usually have guest directors that pop in and do the episodes. So Favreau's not doing the whole show. Normally, it's usually like a couple different directors, Bryce Dallas Howard, and a couple others that usually come in and do part of the episodes. So this will be completely Favreau, start to finish
Okay.
doing this movie. Filoni
And
really
maybe that could be the distant
I
a negative too
I
because you don't
find
have him
this
by.
to be part of the reason Star Wars is going to get some flack for a little while is because everybody knows Kathleen Kennedy's gone. Everything is going to be blamed on Filoni, even if he had nothing to do with it, and I don't think that's quite fair. Him and Lin-Manuel Brennan just took over these roles a couple months ago. It was just announced. We talked about it on the show. So anything that's been done in the Star Wars universe, any part of the hierarchy and the things that have happened, Unfortunately, guys, Dave Filoni's not the one to blame for any of it. Yes, he's got involvement. Yes, he's been overseeing a lot of the creative and a lot of the timeline stuff because that's what he's good at. But all of this other stuff is Kathleen Kennedy's direction. This is all Bob Iger's direction. Like, that's what you have to take into account and stop blaming, whoever's in control at the point now. It's a lot more people that have influence and things. And that's also part of, like, this Ben Solo movie. Now it's coming out that, like, Kathleen Kennedy was ready to greenlight that movie and have it go forward. And then Bob Iger and the new CEO stepped in and were like, no, we don't want to make this. Like, we don't want this movie done. So apparently this movie's still on the back burner. There's still a possibility it could be made, especially if Filoni seems to really like the script. I don't think Disney wants to touch the sequel trilogy. I'm assuming that's where Disney and this new CEO are at, where they realize that, hey, Star Wars is Luke, Han, and Leia. That's what people want to see. That's the era people want to see. We got to figure out how we can capitalize on that and not worry about this other stuff. And I think they don't want to touch the sequel era at all anymore. I think they want to move their way away from that. I'm sure we're going to get a Rey cameo in this Ryan Gosling Starfighter movie when it comes out. Like, I would put money that the final shot of the movie is a Rey cameo. But I don't know what that entails for the bigger Star Wars universe. They could do something where it's like Rey, Ahsoka, Ezra, Sabine, Mando, Grogu, all these characters coming together for a new trilogy. And maybe that's what we get, like, with this apparently rumored, next trilogy of movies that Simon Kinberg has been working on. I don't know if that's the direction. You got to do something with it, and you got to move the needle some way. I'm fine staying in the Mando era, but if you're going to do it, I need some grand scale thing. I need Luke, Han, and Leia, whether you recast them or you do the deep fakes with however you want to go about it. I think that's where your money is. I think if you're focusing on OT and you give us some more adventures with them and some of these other newer characters that you established, I think you're going to draw people in to come see it. And I think that's what people want when they think about Star Wars. As much as Disney's wanted to move away from the Skywalker legacy and, try to create new things, I think Star Wars, unfortunately, is the Skywalker legacy one way or another, however you want to take it. I think
that's the ticket in, dude. That's your ticket. That's everybody's ticket in. And you take that away, that's crazy. What I was going to say, though, is, like, how crazy would it be is at the end of Mando and Grogu, fucking some crazy shit happens and a ship lands and the doors open and Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker.
I'd be fine with it. I keep telling you that's who I would just cast to play Luke. Like, there's no point in
that would be crazy.
The deep fake looked awful. I hate to break it to everybody who was, like, in love with it. I know the moment was huge when everybody saw Luke come through the elevator with R2. It was great. I loved it when I watched it in the moment. But if you go back and watch that, and if you go back and watch some of those Dagobah scenes with him and Grogu together, the mapping is off. It seems creepy and fake, and I don't think we should.
A little delayed, yes.
I
agree.
Fake stuff that looks fake. That's part of my gripe with this movie is, like, the whole movie shot on the volume and the green screen. So, like, it's going to be Fantastic Four all over again when you get back to a cinema where I can literally point to the green screen in the shots because it's so blatant, and, like, you can point to what's not real and what's not, and that's where I think, when we're comparing what Disney's doing with Star Wars and Avengers and all these things where everything's on a green screen, everything's on a volume, and then we're talking about shows like Sir Duncan Egg where they're actually shooting it in real sets. Even shows like Andor that were shot on real sets look and feel so much better. They feel more real, and that's what I think we should be going for, and less of the fakeness in Hollywood. For me, at least, that's what I like when I watch movies. It's like, I don't want to take myself out of this by being able to tell this is CGI. Like, make it good enough where, like, Predator Badlands, I watched that whole movie. The CGI in that is not noticeable. It looks like I'm looking at a predator creature the whole entire movie, and, like, that's how I should feel when I'm watching the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's what I feel has been, like, a big detriment to them with a lot of the stuff they've been doing, unfortunately. So I hope it does well. I hope people want to go see it. Maybe it'll surprise me, but to me it really came across like they're really gearing this towards children and just hoping that it has the Zootopia effect where, like, parents take their kids to go see it. And maybe it will, but unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be what brings Star Wars back, and that's going to be the tough part.
You would think after seeing what the effects of Andor did, and its not even strictly about so much with the lightsabers and the starships and all that.
There's no lightsabers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically real shit, and everybody and anybody can relate to it. That's why it went to Hulu and it went to Disney Plus, because it was anybody can relate to this. You don't even gotta know Star Wars lore like that. You
The
would think
unfortunate
because
part,
of those
though,
ratings in that show that they would follow suit and just do that with this rest of the stuff going forward. But
it's a fine line though, because you have people like Filoni who didn't like Andor because it didn't really hold suit to what Star Wars is, and it wasn't. It wasn't what Star Wars normally is type show. It was a Tony Gilroy show. It's what he did with Star Wars in that environment. I didn't like season 1 of Andor, but by season 2 they really had me, and I really turned my opinion around on the show. I think it was shot beautifully. I think visually it looked amazing. The actors' performances were amazing, and I don't know if I necessarily want like more fully geared adult Star Wars. I just want Star Wars to be for everybody.
no, it's a balance for sure. But
So
I enjoyed
I
that
think
take on it
it's a
because
fine line, because regardless of the critical acclaim that Andor got, it didn't do well in the ratings. Same thing with Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew, a lot of people seem to give it overall good ratings. I didn't care for the show. I thought it was a very
I watched the first
show.
2 episodes. On rewatch.
But apparently, like, the ratings for that too weren't good at all. But there's talks of them maybe possibly bringing them back, because like the original plan for all this was the Skeleton Crew, the Skeleton Crew, the Mandalorian, Ahsoka. All these characters were supposed to come together for this Heir to the Empire film that Filoni was doing, and now it doesn't seem like that's even going to happen at this point. It seems like Ahsoka season 2 is going to be like the ending of this story, and that's going to be it. Especially if Mando's doesn't succeed at the box office. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing. I'm not exactly sure. But speaking more about Disney, we got a little bit more information on the new Spider-Man film, including a plot synopsis from a Barnes & Noble listing of a making of Spider-Man book. So the listing went up on the Barnes & Noble's website, and they had a bunch of tidbits from the movie, from the Spider-Man movie that we didn't know. So 4 years have passed since the last Spider-Man movie happened, basically. There's going to be a time jump. So that explains what we were talking about last week by seeing Boomerang and seeing Matt Gargan and some of these other characters, that more than likely we're going to open the movie with a montage, showing us the last 4 years of him just being Spider-Man. He's going to college now at this point. It's supposed to be a lot more street level Spider-Man throughout this whole entire movie, which will be fun. Like we were talking about last week, it just seems that there's a lot of characters involved in this movie. I'm interested to see how they're going to pull it off, like weaving all of this stuff together. So they're
going to do a Fantastic Four on us.
And then there was like a rumored set leak photo that was floating around of Sadie Sink in the Spider-Gwen costume. So a lot of people have been reporting that she's Jean Grey, that she's Rachel Summers, that this is going to be the introduction to the X-Men, but now maybe she's Gwen Stacy from an alternate universe, or Gwen Stacy from Peter's universe. Like,
allegedly.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I think it's allegedly, only because I just feel like it seems a little AI generated to me, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't say it's not true, because she does look perfect for that role.
Yeah, and if they dyed her hair blonde, like it's simple to just turn her from a redhead to a blonde, and like there you go. Like, okay, she's Gwen. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's been 4 years, since he's been with MJ, so he's been without her for 4 years. He's on his own, just being Peter. And I'm wondering if they're going to do what they did in the comics, where Bruce Banner doesn't remember Peter Parker, but Hulk does. And that, because like Hulk, the spell didn't take on Hulk, it only takes on Banner. So like I'm wondering if that's like what that's going to be, is that, when Peter...
But was Hulk ever really with Spider-Man? Like side by side? I mean, in the war, right?
In the Avengers movies, in the last two Avengers movies. So... that's what I'm wondering, if like we're gonna get that, of like Hulk remembers Peter and Bruce doesn't, and like that's why he kind of is seeking him out, maybe to find out what's going on. I saw some people kicking around the idea of like maybe Spider-Man's mutating, and there was something I know we were kicking around that we saw about like perhaps his webs are going to be like Toby's webs, where they're going to come out of him like organically, and he's not going to need the web shooters anymore. I don't know if that's where we're going with this movie. That just seems like a lot to pack in with this story, especially with
but it's almost as if
and like everything else. It just seems like a train wreck of a movie if you're including that much stuff in it, and Punisher and everything else. Like that's a lot to include.
Yeah, and I think this is why we're probably it's taking so long to give us a freaking trailer, because they don't even know how they want to even start with giving us clues and this plots of what this movie even is about.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say like it almost gives me like animated Spider-Man vibes, you know what I'm saying? Because he's in college and he's going through all these villains and stuff like that. And you know, if that's the case, and that is the inspiration that the directors and the team put together, then I'm all in for that, because that'd be dope.
And this is a director from Shang-Chi, and
correct.
You know that the producer of Wonder Man. So it's going to be interesting to see like what he's going to be doing with this series, and if any of that ties into this show at all, into this movie at all.
I'm sure Damage Control is going to be involved in this a lot, because you know we see those scenes with the tank and stuff.
Damage Control is supposed to be the main antagonist along with Mr. Negative. Like they're supposed to be the main villains of this movie. Matt Gargan and Scorpion, I guess, are supposed to be like the side villains.
Yeah, but I haven't even seen anybody who's supposed to play Mr. Negative.
Yes, they did announce it. I just don't remember the guy's name that's going to be playing him. It was originally rumored to be Stephen Yeun, but it's not. It's a different actor that's going to be playing Mr. Negative. So I forget his name, unfortunately. But yeah. And then in this book, we actually saw the concept art for Scorpion, so it looks like Scorpion's going to be doing more of like a Michael Keaton vibe, where it's like the Scorpion suit is built from different parts of the Chitauri stuff.
Yeah, where it looks like almost his Scorpion tail is like a crane, and like just off of just like prosthetics and just inspirations from other things. Yeah,
we're not.
I like that
actual
idea.
Scorpion costume. It's more so of something that like he pieces together from all of these parts. So should be
all these little scraps. But which by the end of the movie we might get the real thing too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this movie. I'm looking forward to this movie way more than Doomsday. So far, like this is the movie I'm more looking forward to out of the Marvel slot of stuff, just because I've enjoyed all of the Spider-Man movies so far, so I have no reason to think that I wouldn't enjoy this one as well. Like I said, my only worry is just it seems like they're packing 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag again, and that seems to be something that they do a lot, so I am a little bit worried about that in that regard.
I've always been a fan of the street level shit way more than the cosmic universe stuff. So that's why I'm also like, I can't wait for Daredevil 2 when it comes out as well. But I'm 1,000% in on this movie. I just can't wait to see something. Like, give us anything.
And actually get to see a trailer for it. Actually get to see like what we're going to be expecting with this movie. I think that's kind of where I'm at too with it. And then the big thing that did outperform the Mandalorian trailer was the news of Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey are going to be fighting on Netflix in an MMA fight. Gina has not fought in over 10 years. Ronda hasn't fought in probably about 8 years, give or take.
Yo, these girls are in another level, bro. Like, I don't know what universe. I thought they were on another universe. For them to come out of here and start this shit now, it's just like...
I thought it was
where? Why?
I thought it was fake at first. I saw the poster and I was like, oh, this is AI. And then I was like, oh, no, Netflix is actually posting this. This is real.
And it's ironic that we were just talking about it last pod, too.
Yeah, we were just talking about Gina Carano last podcast.
Gina.
So it's funny that, like, this is how she's making her comeback. And I thought it was so petty that she announced this when the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer dropped. So, like, she stole the spotlight from the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. This was the number 1 through 5 top trending thing for the entire 24-hour span. Like, was Gina, Ronda, this fight, and Netflix. Mandalorian didn't break the top 10. It was number 13 and number 12 for most of the day. So That's what I'm saying. Like, she literally, by dropping this little teaser that they dropped on
Fucking
Netflix
shitted on
and,
him,
and
dude.
the poster and the little video spoof of them like sparring off and squaring off with one another, it did more than the Mandalorian and Grogu did, and that's crazy to me. And I feel like that was so intent, like so on purpose that she scheduled it that way. Apparently, from how this fight came together, Ronda basically went to Gina about it. Apparently, she basically said to her that she knew that Gina got like put on some weight and got into like an unhealthy amount of weight, and basically set up this fight to get Gina to get down into shape and come back and fight. And apparently they're both fighting at 135. So Gina got down to 135 for this fight, which is pretty amazing. I always thought Gina was beautiful, like always had a crush on her back since the Strikeforce days. I don't agree with her personal politics and all of the things that she says, but I always thought she was an attractive woman. And, you know, now to see her and Ronda go off, it's going to be interesting. I don't know who's going to win this fight. I'm hoping it's not going to be like the Logan Paul fight where it's like strictly set up. They kind of know that like one of them's either going to take the dive or neither one of them are going to take the dive, and they're both going to come out when the rounds are over. I want to say this is a 5-round fight, which is crazy to me, like especially when neither one of them have fought for as long as they have. They're going to do 5 rounds. But I'm interested to see it. I really am. I'm here for it.
I'm interested to see it, and I never knew Gina even fought. So this is my first
Gina,
time even finding out that she was in the field like that.
Gina never fought in UFC. She fought in Strikeforce. So she was the champ in Strikeforce, which was like an amateur UFC at the time. Basically, women's MMA didn't become as popular as it did until Ronda Rousey was fighting in the UFC. So Gina kind of missed that wave. Gina, though, was one of the first like big MMA women to be doing it. Like, she was kicking ass long before Ronda was. So in longevity and, you know, performance, you have to take that into account, but then you also have to take into account Ronda's judo background and you know, her she's still in shape. She's still been wrestling. Like, she popped up on AEW not too long ago and did a tag match. So she's still like physically fit and in shape. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I'm interested to see what the card is going to be for the rest of the fight too. It also seems like they position this as a counter to the White House UFC fight that's going to be taking place eventually, where the White House can't draw anybody that wants to fight there for that fight. Meanwhile, Netflix turned around and was like, okay, we got you on MMA, and put together this fight. I think it's great for their first, you know, incarnation. I don't know how many other MMA fights you could set up that are going to draw people in like this. But for me, seeing Ronda versus Gina, like I said, as long as it's going to be an actual contest and they're actually going to fight, I'm here for it. I want to see it.
I'm excited as well, and this fight is gonna be something else, you know, because we got this fight that I just heard about. Then they got this supposed Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather fight that's coming up, and a lot of these people are like getting really old now, so this got to be scripted in some type of way. The bags that they're throwing at these people for these Netflix deals are insane, and you know, I just think it's all script at this point now. But you know, I'm a guy who loves WWE, so I'm all in for it, for the entertainment. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I mean, that those Jake Paul fights were clearly scripted, and everybody kind of knew, like, oh, you know, do this at this point and whatever. But I think eventually, you know, Jake Paul finally took a couple real shots and got his jaw broke. Probably deservingly. But I'm interested to see it. I'm here to see it. Also, we got some little quick news for those who are fans of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Kristen Bell was cast as Amy Rose, which is the female version of Sonic, the pink little Sonic the Hedgehog, if that's how you know her.
The hammer.
So she's been the character that's been featured in like the Sonic cartoon show. She's been featured in a lot of the animation shows, and she was also in the last episode too. I mean, the last movie too. At the end. Was she at the end? Okay, so they did have a voice actress. They did have a voice actress that was playing her previously for all of those other things. So I thought it was interesting that like They got rid of that voice actress and brought in Kristen Bell to play
Correct.
the role. I like the Sonic franchise. Like, it is a fun franchise, especially the last one. The last one with Keanu Reeves and Shadow was a lot of fun and was really good.
Hmm.
I didn't like the Knuckles TV series that they did a couple years ago. That was kind of weak. But the other
Yeah.
stuff is like entertaining, and like the fact
Hmm.
of like whoever thought we'd get Sonic the Hedgehog like live action movies, I never did.
Compared to where that shit started, real,
To now,
that
like
that movie would have been this movie. We would have never been even having this conversation right now if had that movie been the way it was supposed to come out.
yeah.
I don't know what they were talking about, but I'm glad they took that back and redid the boy, and we got a great Sonic series coming out.
Yeah, because it really is. It's been fun. The last movie, like I said, was in my opinion the best one that I had a really good time watching. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I know Jim Carrey is like a big fan of playing this character, and basically said this is like the one thing he'd continue to do if he'd never did anything else. Like, he'd continue to play Dr. Robotnik and be a part of this franchise. So that's cool to see. I still would love to see him do some other stuff here and there, but who knows? We got a ton.
Will it be the Riddler again?
I don't know. I would just like to see him pop up and do some stuff. Like, even I could see him as Scarecrow. I could see him as like so many different roles. It just would depend on like what he wanted to actually do and like what movies.
Yeah, Scarecrow will be interesting. Actually, I never thought of that.
I liked a lot of like the outside the box stuff. Like, a lot of people don't like the number 23 that he did. I kind of like that movie about like the secret garden and him burying the wife in the garden. Like, I am going crazy and not remembering like what he did. Like, that movie's a fantastic movie.
I was thinking about 9 for a second.
There's like a bunch of like little obscure movies that he did over the time. I love his performance as Riddler. Like, I know the movie is what it is, but I still love his performance as Riddler. The Grinch is like classic, so it's just cool seeing that like all of these things that, you know, he's done are still well remembered and still well regarded. So I would like to see Jim Carrey still do some other stuff. We got a ton of new announcements for new releases for comics. So we'll include this in our comics section. We've been talking about the Chip Zdarsky stuff, the Armageddon, the Weapons of Armageddon storyline that's going on in Captain America and Wolverine currently. It was fully announced, the solicitation for Marvel Avengers Armageddon, which will be the summer event for this year. It looks really cool. Apparently, from what it looks like and from what the synopsis was, a group of Avengers are going to be going to Latveria to challenge Red Hulk, who has taken control of Latveria since the Doom situation has happened. So that seems to be like what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and he's versing him right now in Red Hulk. Well, he's versing him right. Cap is versing Hulk currently right now in this new series, but in the Wolverine series, this one right here that we was talking about. Oh, I don't have really good camera angle here, but yeah. Anyways, this is what we were talking about. It's really interesting. I did a video on my Instagram a couple months ago speaking about the death of Wolverine, and in that we get not the introduction, but a mention of Duke Nukem, and he's in this series, and I just love this character in general. I think he's a character right now, especially what's going on in the world, that to put him in comics makes everything just like so relatable and therefore and thus for. But also him in this it's gonna play a crazy role, because I mean, this is almost like Death of Wolverine tonish in a way of like how the story goes. You would almost think they're 1-to-1, just the way how Logan is moving in his world and his life right now and stuff like that. But it basically, like we talked about before, it just it introduces, you know, the they don't even say who they are, but this like these scientists and a group of like investors are introducing a new type of
weapon,
super soldier, I should say, right?
It's the Weapon X program, yeah.
Yeah, the weapon. Yeah, so yes, because I seen the doctor in here that created Wolverine, but I wasn't. It seemed like a flashback to me, so that's why I wasn't 100% on
that doctor's
really
dead. Wolverine killed him. Yeah.
Right. So it had to have been a flashback.
So since a lot of people don't realize, who don't read a lot of other X-Men books. Grant Morrison basically fleshed out the Weapon X program to Weapons Plus. That's what the program is named. Basically establishing that the first ever weapon created was Captain America. Captain America is Weapon 1. Wolverine is Weapon X, which is Weapon 10. Phantom X is one of the other weapons. Laura X-23 is another one of the weapons. The Cuckoos, the Stepford Cuckoos from X-Men, are another group of the weapons and are believed to apparently be Captain America and Emma Frost's DNA together. That was kind of hinted at in the Krakoa era, that Cap might be actually their father biologically. But the Weapons Plus program has been going on for quite some time. They've created quite a bunch of different weapons, and the point of this whole story, I guess, is they're going to be creating another weapon that's going to have the capability. They were trying to recreate the Wolverine experiment, and I guess the experiment goes bad, and instead of injecting the adamantium into his bone structure, it actually merges with this guy's skin, and he's going to be a new character that's going to be able to basically change his skin shape into all kinds of adamantium things and weapons and scales and spikes and everything like that. So that should be pretty cool going into this story, to see how that character is going to be impacted and used, and what they're going to do with it. I'm interested to see what Chip's going to be doing with this story. The story is really meant to set up the hierarchy of the Avengers universe and kind of establish us with a baseline of like a book people can just go read. If they just want to jump into the Avengers universe, they'll have something that now they can just jump in and read going forward. So to me, that's great. There's not anything in Marvel that has, any kind of continuality with the other. So it's nice that they're trying to establish that again. That's what I loved about the previous X-Men era, is that everything was connected in the X-Men books. They were all taking place at the same time, same place, and they all had characters that were jumping over and doing, that's how I like my universe. That's what I miss about the DC universe with the New 52, is that everything felt more connected. And, if you were reading one book, you would see another character, and the things would all line up and make sense. I like that continuality in books. So I'm interested to see what this does for comics going forward. Chip said all his issues are done already and already turned in for this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how the storyline does. They also announced Jay and Silent Bob, Jay's of Future Past story that's going to be happening, that Kevin Smith apparently pitched Stan Lee back when they were working on Mallrats. So this is an old Kevin Smith story that he pitched and is finally going to be able to make happen. I think it's just going to be a one-shot, but it looks like Jay and Silent Bob, they have been popping up. I don't know if you've realized, or if some other people have realized, that Jay and Silent Bob have been popping up in the background of a lot of different issues. They were in a Spider-Man issue, they were in an X-Men issue, they were in a couple other things where they're just floating around in the background, or walking down the street, or sitting on a bench, or whatever the case may be. So it's cool that they're going to be doing something like this, and it looks like it's going to be like a spoof of Days of Future Past with Jays of Future Past. So fun little thing for Kevin Smith to be doing. I'm a fan of his work, so I'm always here for Kevin getting more stuff to do. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I didn't hear about this one till today, and when we talked about it, but. I've always been a fan of him. I love to see what he does. I've loved I loved the He-Man series that he did, so I don't feel like he would do me wrong with this one either.
Yeah, there's a fantastic book that he wrote years ago. It's a Daredevil, Black Cat, and Spider-Man story called The Evil That Men Do. It is by far one of my favorite trades, and probably my favorite Daredevil and Black Cat story ever. It's such an interesting story. If you could pick it up in the trade, it's really
love me some Daredevil.
Kevin Smith also did some fantastic work on Batman. He did the Leviathan story in Leviathan Part 2. A couple other things in the Batman universe which were fantastic. So I'm here for it. He's also had part in the crossover, in the Marvel DC crossover that they just did not too long ago. I think he's going to be part of the new one that's going to be coming out. So it's always good to see that they're involving him and stuff. I know he did something with Archie as well not too long ago. So it'll be cool.
Ooh. Yeah. Also, that was nice. That was fun stuff.
In comics, DC announced a ton of new things as part of their Next Level initiative. So we knew some of this stuff was coming, but some of this stuff has been teased for a while. Other things now are officially announced. So the official announcement is Absolute Catwoman, which we knew was coming. Absolute Black Canary is going to be showing up in Absolute Green Arrow. She looks very Rhea Ripley-ish to me. It looks like they basically took Rhea Ripley and made her Black Canary. Just gave her blonde hair. She's built just like her, real tall, real jacked. So that's a totally different look for her.
She is buffed the fudged out, man.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Also, it looks like they are going with Ollie still being Green Arrow, like he's back from the dead because he got killed in the Absolute special. So, I don't know.
That's what I was saying. Like I missed out on that Absolute Batman. So I was like, why is he dead? Why what's this like Ghost Rider take on him?
So it took place where basically like he was training to be. He set up the Arrow Cave. He was talking to Roy Harper on the phone and basically talking about how he was setting up to do this and be a superhero. And then Absolute Hawkman basically goes and kills him for Joker and the the basically the League of Shadows, the group of supervillains that are in the Absolute universe. They had a meeting and basically Hawkman walks in with Green Arrow's body and just throws it on the table like Oliver Queen's taken off the board already. So I don't know how they're going to bring him back. I don't know. It does almost look like a Ghost Rider vibe for him. I thought it was going to be Roy. I thought they were going to do something with Roy Harper and Arsenal and make him Green Arrow for this universe, which I would have loved more. I'm a big fan of Roy's character going back to Red Hood and Outlaws and Teen Titans. So I would have really liked to see him get the spotlight for that, especially since Wally's getting the spotlight as Absolute Flash. So it would have been cool to see that.
Correct.
So now another book I will talk about later in my comics for the week is Teen Titans. So the current iteration of Teen Titans ended this past week, and now the Titans books are going to be taking a little bit of a change. So we're going to get New Titans, which is going to be this current Teen Titans book basically being transferred into New Titans. So we're going to still have Nightwing, Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, Beast Boy, the main Teen Titans, along with some new characters. Stephanie Brown's being added to the squad. Jonathan Kent's being added to the squad, a couple of those other characters. But for the kids that were introduced in the Kids Are Alright special that was just shown as part of DCKO, it was announced that Jason Todd, Red Hood, because his book got canceled, very quickly, they basically pivoted and are going to have Red Hood be the new mentor for the new Teen Titans. So this new group of Teen Titans includes Roy Harper's daughter, Cheshire, and Jonathan Kent, and some of the kids that were just shown in the Kids Are Alright special and that were just shown in this last issue of Titans that I'll talk about later. I'm a big Jason Todd Red Hood fan. I'm a really he's my favorite character in DC. I'm not crazy about this. I do like him with Cheshire, Roy's daughter, because it kind of plays off his relationship with Roy a little bit. But I don't think Jason's the best character to be mentoring children, unless it's like somebody like Stephanie Brown or Rose Wilson or something like that. That's like he's involved with. It's a very interesting pitch for me.
Is Mr. Terrific still in charge of this team?
No, he hasn't been in charge of Teen Titans. He's on the Justice League. Mr. Terrific, though, isn't the leader of the Justice League. He's just part of the Justice League.
Well, wasn't I thought before, like in the beginning of DCKO, he was like with the Teen Titans.
No,
because the rest of the group left off to do the tournament stuff.
No, Mr. Terrific's been with like the alternate Justice League, so he's been with like Batman Beyond and those characters in that story that's been going on in Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, not Teen Titans.
Okay.
So it should be a totally interesting route for Jason. I'm interested to see what they do for him. I would have preferred a new Jason book or something, him even stepping in and being the new Robin now that Tim's gone. But yeah, there's also going to be a breakout book with Barbara Gordon, who would have been another character I would have loved to see as part of that Teen Titans book with Jason. Apparently Barbara Gordon is being locked up in jail as part of Vandal Savage's thing going on as the new commissioner in Gotham. And we're going to be watching a breakout series with Barbara being locked up in a Supermax security prison. What is spinning out of that Batman thing where Vandal Savage is the commissioner. Barbara looks like she's going to be going to jail, so we're going to get a breakout series with her. I don't know how that's going to go. They really haven't known what to do with Barbara Gordon since Gail Simone gave up the series in New 52. She did some of the phenomenal work when New 52 started. Teenie Howard and Leah Williams.
Did you read this new stuff that they just came out with?
Gotham City Sirens book. I really like what they do with Barbara, but I'm not really sure what they're going to be doing with her in this. We're also getting a Dead Man book. I really have no comment on that. I don't care one way or another. He's not a character I really like.
Same.
Batwoman, another one that I could kind of give or take. It doesn't really matter to me about Batwoman. Zatanna is getting another series, so her last series didn't do very well. They're going to relaunch it and try again. I love Zatanna as a character. I think a Justice League Dark book makes a lot more sense than just giving Zatanna another solo title. Putting her back with Constantine and some of the cool, weird superheroes that we have in the DC universe, I think that's a much better route to go. Jonah Hex is getting another book, which again should be part of that Justice League Dark book to me. Lobo is getting a book just simply because of the Superwoman, Superwoman movie coming out and him being part of that Supergirl. And then they announced the Batman Shadow of the Bat book, which I'm not sure who the creative team is going to be behind this, but the book hasn't been announced as coming out yet. They just teased that that's part of the next level lineup. So we're going to get a Batman Shadow of the Bat. I'm assuming Damian will probably be part of that, maybe some of the other Bat characters, but not really sure as to what the premise of that's all going to be, or what it's going to, turn out to be.
Correct.
But DC,
it's
really
a lot of some big heavy hitters coming out these next couple months, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I know we also have the freaking Superman and the Spider-Man crossover that should be coming out soon too.
Spring,
yeah. So I'm also looking forward to that.
Yeah, one thing with me with the Absolute Universe that worries me is the Batman books, obviously, doing phenomenal. Superman, I think, is more middle of the road, and Wonder Woman's been doing very well. I don't want to see them dilute the Absolute Universe brand by doing too many books. I feel like once they start spanning out and adding all of these other titles, that it starts to water down. I know Martian Manhunter's ending. I think Catwoman is only supposed to be a limited series. I don't think it's a full-blown running series. Same thing with Green Arrow. That might be a regular running series. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't want them to go too crazy with too many other books being part of this universe. I think.
So then, what do you think they do? Do you think they kick back on 2? Because they can't get rid of Batman, because that's their bread and butter.
They're not going to touch the main 3. They're the main 3, and they're going to continue to be the main 3. I think you'd be touching the money if you got rid of any of the other 3 main books.
Right.
I'm just saying, I think maybe doing an Absolute Justice League book, or Absolute, incorporating more characters rather than just doing it as solo characters. I don't really need an Absolute Green Arrow and Canary book. Okay, cool, it's fun, but the book I'm looking forward to for Green Arrow and Black Canary is the Teenie Howard book that's going to be coming out where they get married. I'd rather see that than a whole new version of both of them for me.
Or put them in one. Put Canary in the Arrow run. You don't need to have 2 different books.
That's what they're going to be doing. She's going to be part of that book. But still, to me, it's just all right, do I really need an Absolute Green Arrow book? No, I don't. Do I really need an Absolute Catwoman book? No, I don't. I could deal with her just being part of the Absolute Batman book.
I'll agree. I agree with you 100% on the Catwoman one. I don't need that.
It's cool, it's great. But if it's a limited series, if it's a couple issues, great. Okay, we'll get a little bit more info on this new Selena Kyle. But again, I don't really need it. I'm fine reading just the Batman book and leaving it at that. For me at least, I don't need much more than that.
Speaking of Absolute, did you read this recent Absolute Batman?
Yeah, the Poison Ivy issue.
That was fire, bro.
Yeah, that was from
straight up Resident Evil, basically.
We might as well get in right into comics of the week. What were your comics of this week?
All right, hold on one second. Let me just pull them up. So, I had some rereading to do. So, I caught up on the Matt Fraction Batman, which let me just get it off. Let me get it off real quick. We talked about it before. I think it's Tim Drake who ends up basically leaving and says that he doesn't want to be Robin anymore because he has a significant other that he wants to spend time with. And I have no problem with that. That's my only problem is just how quick he was able to just say, he's just no, you deserve to be with him. It's all fine and dandy. I
Well,
just don't find that to see. I don't just see Bruce doing that. That's just.
With Tim, it makes sense because Tim hasn't really been part of the family lately. Well, not that he hasn't been part of the family. Tim's been around, but Tim's been more in Teen Titans and a lot of that stuff lately. Like he really hasn't been Robin. Damien's been Robin. This was just kind of part of Matt Fraction's idea. Was like, well, since Damien's part of the Batman and Robin book, he wanted a different Robin for his run. So at first he brought in Tim, obviously, and now that Tim's leaving, Stephanie Brown is going to be coming into the book, and Stephanie's going to be filling that role. Apparently, she's going to show up in the next issue. So we're going to get Stephanie Brown now stepping back into the role. I'm guessing she's still going to rock her Batgirl suit, but she was a former Robin, so it's going to be interesting to see her. I would have preferred Jason stepping back into that role, and we get to see Jason and Bruce kind of have to deal with one another. That makes more of an interesting dynamic for me, but seeing Steph be kind of pushed back into the spotlight is cool because I love her as a character too. So
yeah, same. That's what I was gonna say too. Because when we mentioned the Batgirl stuff, like I've always enjoyed Batgirl over Robin sometimes, to be honest.
Now, can we talk about the big reveal at the end of that issue? Because I didn't spoil that last week for you because I wanted you to see that for yourself, where Joker is revealed to be being held by the girl that Bruce just went on the date with.
I didn't get that part out of it. I got the Court of Owls stuff, but I didn't get that. I didn't get that part.
Issue? When you look at the last page of the issue, the last page of the issue, Joker in a tank.
Why didn't I not notice that?
So the girl that Bruce has gone on a date with the last two issues and has been talking to, that doctor, you come to find out that she's been taking care of Joker for the past however long, and Joker's in a tank. So I'm questioning.
Yes. But it didn't look like Joker to me. That's why I didn't understand that.
Joker in the tank. So he's under some sort of treatment from her. So he's obviously in a more subdued state. He says, he's asking about Batman and how he was and how he just wants to see him. So it's going to be interesting. I was wondering if like this girl is going to be revealed to be Punchline and like she's just playing a doctor for now and like that's how.
Yeah, because she did give me Harley vibes, just the way how she was around this person.
Well, like and she looks like Punchline. Like Punchline's the new Harley, I guess you could say, the upgrade for Joker. He got a new baddie that he's running around with. So I'm interested to see if like that doctor is going to end up being, or like this doctor just by chance really is just taking care of Joker. So I'm interested to see what that big reveal is going to be or what that twist is going to be for that. But Joker is coming. We know that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Wow, why didn't I think that was Joker? That's crazy.
Yeah. What else you got as far as your books this week?
So obviously then we move on. I got the Absolute Batman with Poison Ivy here.
First appearance of Poison Ivy, which is great. Like that's one of the thing about the Absolute Batman issues is like so far every issue has been a first appearance of somebody, so it's a valuable collection if you're collecting it. On a week.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. Then we also got issue 15 of Teenage Mutant Turtles. I've been loving this series as well. I've been talking about this like all the time.
Yeah, I dropped that.
So I haven't got around.
The new creative team came on.
Yeah, this series is great. Then also DC KO number 4. Got this one as well. Yeah. Then this is also the other one I was mentioning about
did you
Captain
KO.
I haven't got to KO yet. I've read only two out of.
I was going to talk.
Well, I read 3 out of the ones that I have to catch up, but in this pile, I've only read 2 out of the rest of this pile.
Okay, I was going to talk about the winner of our tournament because it was revealed who actually won.
You can go ahead, talk about it because it's
in a surprise, shocking of events. It's not Superman; it's Lex Luthor who wins the DCKO tournament.
They've been doing that though to him lately, in each one.
Super Clark's about to win, and they think they got it, and it's Lex who ends up taking the shot at Clark and basically ends the tournament then and there. And so Lex Luthor is the winner of the tournament, and I don't know how this KO thing is going to go against Apocalypse. It's going to be very interesting to see, but as we know and we talked about last week, Lex is going to be an official part of the Justice League going forward once KO and all of this whole event is over with. So him, Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Deathstroke, maybe somebody else. I forget who the other character was. But yeah, so Lex is going to be now positioned as like an anti-hero, part of the Justice League when this is all said and done. So I thought that was an interesting way to go about it.
They've been teasing him being the one to be the champion a lot in this series going forward. So that kind of doesn't shock me, but it does shock me at the same time. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it was a really interesting turn of events for sure in that series, because I saw it coming, like when it got set up and like the way the panel was drawn. I was like, oh, this is what's going to happen, and then it did, but I didn't see it coming leading up to it, which was a fun like little tease of like, oh, it's going to be Lex, it's not going to be Clark. So did you have anything else?
It's going to be fun. Yes, and then I had the Captain America's Doom Shadows Part 2, the other about the Chip Zdarsky run as well. Great series. I've been loving that. I had to pick up the Cyclops first issue, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to get into this too. And then lastly, Planet She-Hulk. We're loving this series, and
yeah, you've been a big
I just love what Phillips did with this.
Yeah, I didn't continue to pick up that series. I dropped most of the Imperial stuff after Imperial happened. Like, I don't care about Nova. I don't care about the She-Hulk stuff. I kind of would like to just see more of a Shi'ar book, honestly. But they're not going there with Chuck and Lilandra yet, so eventually they will. I talked about it earlier. This was the final issue for this Titans iteration. This was the last issue for this writer on the series. It was a phenomenal issue. It was part of the KO series and tied in, and had them going up against Darkseid's daughter, which was cool. I haven't seen her since the New 52, since she was created, so it was cool to see her back and be, an antagonist for the Titans. It was really cool to see the OG Titans from the cartoon and the TV show kind of come back in great form, and then this also introduced all of the kids coming to their aid, so it was kind of like a big team up issue of all of them coming to fight, and it was a lot of fun. I really love this iteration of Titans. I didn't talk about it enough, and I should have, but it's just good when they get back to the classic roots and the classic team of Nightwing and Donna and, the characters that I really consider Titans. So I thought that was really awesome. This week
who's behind that? Who's the writer on that?
Layman is the writer for this last run. So he did a phenomenal job on this last run. There's going to be, like I said, it's going to be renamed New Titans going forward. So if you want to continue to read the Titans book, New Titans is going to be the title for you, and then Teen Titans is going to be the book with Jason teaching the kids. This week was the finale of probably what I would say the greatest reinterpretation of Spider-Man ever done. Jonathan Hickman, hats off to him and this entire team on Ultimate Spider-Man. The finale was phenomenal. Absolutely great. We saw Spider-Man square up with the Kingpin and Mr. Negative. We saw Jonah and Uncle Ben, doing their dastardly work with the paper and really exposing Kingpin for who he was. We saw Peter being the superhero that he always should be. For those who hate the fact that he's not with Mary Jane, this is the book for you to read. If you're not reading it, this is the one you should be going to pick up the collection of. Seeing him with the kids, seeing him...
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
With all of that was fantastic, and the way they ended this was just so perfect. I'm assuming Ultimate Spider-Man is going to start back up at some point down the line. I think they're leaving money on the table, just ending the Ultimate Universe altogether after this event. I'm not liking Ultimate Endgame. I've hated both issues so far of that book.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is unfortunate.
Yes.
Like, I don't really care. I just kind of want to get to the end now. Like, I'm ready for it to just end.
Yo, when I went to the comic book store the other day, it's been already, I think, 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks. But the 2 times that I've been, there's stacks of the second ones in this though.
It's the second issue. Like, it's just very weird and very strange, and I'm not liking it. It doesn't have a cohesion to the rest of these other books. Like, I was reading Ultimates and I was reading Ultimate Spider-Man. I wasn't an Ultimate Wolverine. Those were the 3 of the Ultimate books that I was picking up. So for me, like the Ultimate Invasion book just seems like a complete clusterfuck of shit that's just all coming together, and like I just don't like what they're doing. It's just very strange. My last pick of the week is G.I. Joe issue 19. I got the Josh Cassara variant because I love his work and I try to pick up his stuff whenever I see it. This issue was great. We got more of Zartan pretending to be Colonel Hawk. Zartan is on the hunt for the Energon. We come to find out that that's how Zartan's powers work in this Energon universe. Is the Energon is how he's able to create the different disguises and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So he's on the hunt for more Energon. He's using both the Joes and Cobra kind of in a battle against each other. And then Duke also meets the Transformer that's been hiding as the Vamp the entire time. And Duke basically is on the road to go meet Optimus Prime for the first time, which is going to be an epic issue. I don't know if it's the next issue or the issue after, but we're going to get Duke face to face with Optimus Prime for the first time, and that's going to be.
So this G.I. Joe series, right? This is that series that's supposed to be coming out as like an animated series, right? With G.I. Joe and Transformers together, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is all part of the Energon universe. So there's 2 G.I. Joe books going on. There's the Larry Hama book, which is the Real American Hero, which continues the last iteration of G.I. Joe, and that Larry Hama's been writing forever. So that just basically continues his book. But this iteration of G.I. Joe that I'm just talking about is part of the Energon universe, which is tied in with Void Rivals and Transformers. And all 3 books are creating their own expansive universe where they're all part of the same universe, and it's also going to be translated into the TV show that's going to be coming out eventually on Amazon. So yeah, it's been a great series. I love the way they tie everything together, and I'm really excited to see Duke and Optimus Prime meet for the first time. Like, that's going to be epic. So should be really, really cool. But yeah, that's all I got for comics this week. Do you have anything that you've been watching besides the stuff we've been talking about? Anything else that you popped on or were tuning into?
Not off the top of my tongue, I gotta be honest. Like, Seven Kingdoms has had me on a chokehold.
So I've been doing a rewatch of the Titan show on HBO Max.
Yes.
I really gotta say,
Young Justice?
No, the Titan show, the live action Titan show that they did on.
Oh, the one back in the day, yes, on Cartoon Network. Yep.
No, so it was on HBO Max. It's 4 seasons. It's live action. It's very.
Oh, the live action. I'm sorry. Yes.
So I've been doing a rewatch of that series, and controversial opinion, I would not be mad to see any of those actors come back to play those characters still to this in the new DCU.
Yeah.
Season 1 and Season 2 are pretty solid. Season 3 and Season 4, they're awful. They're all over the place. But I would argue that the people that they cast to play the characters, especially the guy that plays Nightwing, the girl who plays Starfire in the series, they are phenomenal. The kid who plays Superboy looks like Superboy and acts like Connor Kent, Beast Boy. So, like, I would not be mad to see any of those actors come back and play those roles in the DCU if they decided to. Obviously the writing would have to be different. You'd have to kind of not acknowledge the previous Titan show and just kind of bring them in new, but I wouldn't be mad at it at all because I felt like every one of these actors really portrayed the role perfectly. It's just the writing for the show is bad.
I never really got into it, so maybe I should check that out.
It's worth the watch. The first season's all about like them coming together, and then them going up against Trigon, which is cool. And then the second season's all about Deathstroke. So like those first 2 seasons really are like really awesome.
What I remember out of it is that like it was a really like slow burn for them to introduce Starfire and her having powers. I just remember that part of it.
Yeah, and they made the interesting choice to make Starfire and Blackfire both African American, which was cool for the power set, because then when their powers came on, that's when they turned like the orange color. So like I always thought that was cool. I love her as Corey. Like I think she's such a good actress and so good for the part, especially playing off the guy who plays Nightwing. they just do such a great job. So like I would totally be here for them to do like a more serious, more comic based version of Titans, but if not, then fine. Are you tapping something?
Yeah, I gotta check it out. I never really like took it serious. I watched it up until that point, and then I was just like I got tired of it because I was just like, when is everybody gonna turn? Also, and later on in the series, do they show more of Beast Boy's like transformations and stuff like that? Because that's another thing too in the first season.
Yeah, no, Beast Boy really goes. He's actually in both shows. He's in Titans and he's in Doom Patrol. So they kind of have him doing double duty for most of the two series where he goes like back.
Is the same actor?
Same actor doing both shows, yeah, because both basically this was their DC TV universe that they put together before Gunn took over. So it was Titans, it was Doom Patrol, it was Swamp Thing, and the Flash TV show that was going on at the time on CW. So there is like a multiverse moment that happens in season 4 of Titans where like Beast Boy travels the multiverse, and it's better done than the Flash movie of how they did the multiverse. Like I thought it was. I watched that again today, and I just was like, yeah, this is still better than the Flash movie, and they do such a better job of like including
the whole movie, dude. That's crazy.
So yeah, definitely worth checking out. But I think that pretty much wraps it up for the week. We got a lot of stuff covered. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering again next week. But thank you guys so much for watching, and please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, leave us some comments. We'll get back to them as soon as we can, and please make sure to let people know to check out the show. You can check it out anywhere you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube, and thanks for so much for watching.
Yes, thank you guys so much. This is Talking Soups, and we are out. Peace.